Hey everyone, this is Leland Best coming to you from Get Vocal at Wake Up West Coast. Okay, so it's not always the best one. This is a random wake up generator. I just push a button every time. You never know what's going to come out of that thing's mouth. I'm out here doing the 91, that's right, 91 predictions that were made about live streaming back in 2018. I started this broadcast just a few minutes ago. And guess what? I didn't start the broadcast. I just came out here and started talking. So we're going to do this one more time so that I can take this video and reuse it the way I really want to. Ross Brand and his team over at Livestream Universe put together live streaming and digital media's 91 predictions for 2018. So we're going to go down the list here shortly, and we're going to see who hit the mark and who missed the mark, because obviously there's a lot of folks out here that like to live stream. We come out to Get Vocal to hang out and talk and network. That's why I like to bring people out here. All of you people out on Facebook and YouTube are probably laughing your butts off right now because you're like, now, wait a minute. It's just not what I get. I don't get it. You came out here, you started, you broke, and then you started again. And this is what you have to do in live video, because there is one fact to live video that you have to remember. There's no pause button. Okay, you can't just say, oh, wait, retake, got to do that again, unless you're in a situation like this where I can pause and say, okay, we didn't start the broadcast, which we didn't. So everyone out there on Facebook and YouTube had no idea what was going on. Now, the only thing I need to do right now is go back and reconnect my social feed for Get Vocal, and I may not even be broadcasting on Facebook. So that's the break that happens sometimes. I'm going to head over and make sure our stream's working, because you only have a couple of minutes to catch a stream on Facebook. Let's see. And it'll shut down if you don't. So I just got to make sure we got something going here before I get too far. Again, seats are open, so you're welcome to sit on this and laugh with me about it. It just goes. Okay, so we're good. We still have a live video on Facebook. Everything should be okay because it started probably just in time to be able to catch this. All right, there we are. We're good. Okay, so I don't have to worry about Facebook. Now let's head over to YouTube, see if I actually have something on YouTube going. Because the one thing I've noticed about YouTube is you have to have the default settings set up. If you don't and everything goes through, you may find that your video didn't do what you wanted it to do. Okay, live now. I don't think it's going to be showing a stream live now, but let's see. Yeah, something broke on YouTube. Well, we're not going to worry about it. Back to business as usual, the way it normally goes. Okay, so back to the streaming. We'll go to the 91 predictions. I'm going to, again, go down into the little corner so you guys can see me down here, and we're going to scroll down. We mentioned J.S. Gilbert said in 2022 that things are really going to get exciting. I talked about how 5G is going to be the next big thing in 2020. So expect these to be your production houses one way or another. You're going to come out here and you're going to have faster speeds on your mobile device than you do on your PC now. So those are going to be big changes when it comes to video, because there will be no delay. There will be the ability to bring in holographic content, 3D content, you name it. It's all going to be done right on your mobile device. Here's one of the guys that I follow quite often out there, and I'm going to have to probably zoom this up just a little bit so you guys can see and read this. Okay, Roberto Blake. If you don't follow him on YouTube, please do. He's one of the best live streamers on YouTube that I follow anyway, and the guy knows his stuff. He's one of those that doesn't balk when it comes to telling things the way they are. So if you want to know about what's going on YouTube, make sure you check out Roberto. He says the whole thing might be saturated. YouTube is what he's referring to. It seems that way to most people, but a lot of people don't get it because not enough people are actually streaming the right niches out on YouTube to fill them all. So if you don't have a presence on YouTube now is a good time to get involved, because honestly, a lot of people are realizing YouTube is the place to be to produce video. It's free. You have archives for life, basically, or until YouTube shuts down. You can go 4K. They've even done some 8K uploads on YouTube. Not that I ever see that being something that I would use. I don't even see myself using 4K for another couple of years. But the fact of the matter is it's available. And what is done on YouTube is it transcodes all the video that you produce on YouTube into other formats for other devices like tablets and pads and cell phones. So that's one of the things. You're using, oh, he's getting kicked out. I'm sorry to hear that, Preston. We have had issues in the room. Are you having a problem getting a seat, or is it that you cannot get to the room and stay in the room. You're getting kicked out of the room. We'll have to bring that up to the folks over at Get Vocal. Let's go down a few. I'm going to skip past some of these and hit the ones that I'm very familiar with. Krishna Day is somebody that runs a broadcast out at Livestream Insiders on Sundays from the UK. Her and Peter Stewart have a wonderful live stream tech news type site, and they're always talking about the newest developments in live streaming. And she says, with the launch of new tools for Facebook and Instagram Live on mobile devices, we'll see more organizations exploring mobile live streaming versus the popularity of more highly produced shows using pro live stream tools. And I agree. I see a lot of what she brought up in her prediction coming true. If you've seen some of these backpacks that people are developing, where you have a pack on your shoulders that has the mobile device either on your shoulder, on your chest, over your ear, on your hat, whatever, but you have enough power, you have the microphone and the audio the technical aspects of it that will produce the best audio that you can achieve. And then you literally have a hotspot Wi-Fi device that allows you to be anywhere and stream from anywhere. So her prediction was spot on as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the idea of doing more mobile streaming of various types rather than just using a phone. So that was a huge prediction. Let's head down past Rebecca. I'm going to go to Nick Neiman's always one that, or Neiman, I'm not sure how he always pronounces his name, but he says live streaming gives the ability to connect with customers and fans in a way that video just isn't capable of doing. It's a generalized statement, yes, but it makes big sense because what we heard for so long was video is the next best thing. Video. You had to say video is going to be 80% of the content delivered to people every day from like 2018 on. Well, we didn't see that completely because we still see people podcasting. We still see people writing content. So videos aren't filling this huge supposed void that existed that really was non-existent. But what it did do was we noticed the engagement that was happening in live video versus recorded video. And when I say that, I want to preface that with a bit of a comment, because this is what it's all about. It's not about just sitting there and watching a slideshow. It's not about sitting and watching a movie with someone. It's about sitting down and networking and conversing in real time in real life and getting through the things that we normally don't discuss in text. Because it's very difficult. You can't get the inflections, you can't get the facial gestures, you can't get the eye contact, you can't get just the motion that's going on when people are talking. You can't see the excitement. You can't do any of that in text form. So you gotta you'll find a lot of times there are people who just can't do this. There are people who are not comfortable on video, and that's fine. We get it. We're not trying to force anyone into this, but what we're hoping people will discover is the benefit that it has when you can connect directly to your business audience or your customer and your client and get to know them personally, because that's what's going to make the difference. All right, back to it. I'm going to jump down here to not Sarah Moore, but Terry Johnson. Terry Johnson was a good friend that we bounce back and forth. She runs a show called, she's a digital marketing strategist. She's been on BizChicks, and she does her own stuff quite a bit as well in live streaming. It says businesses discover micro content can help them break through the noise online. Smart business owners will build their brand with creative ideas using Instagram or Facebook stories to attract the audience they want online. Now, this seems to be coming. I'm sorry to hear that, Preston. I apologize. Rich, yes, Christian is a great person as well. I just want to comment on those. I'll try to catch those comments as they come through. Basically, with Terry, I've seen them do so much good work. They're out here constantly on the ball doing streams every week, sometimes every day. And what I think she's really focusing on that we're seeing more of now, just recently, is the micro content where, yes, there's diminishing content, which is stuff like Snapchat and Instagram that goes away in 24 hours. I'm not a big fan of that stuff. I know how it's being used. I understand that it does work in some niches. It does work for some followings, but I'm just not I want my content. I don't want to create content that's going to vanish that I can't get back. And that was one of the downfalls, I think, of Snapchat in the beginning. And Instagram now at least and they started adding downloadable content after you created it, but it took a while at first. So a lot of the stuff that went out there is just gone in the void. It'll never be seen again. Whether that's really my way of doing things, not necessarily, but for some it is. So in this regard, we're seeing a lot more people taking clips of larger content amounts, like a 1 hour video, and breaking it down into little segments, or just going out and doing a 1 minute blurb. You'll find like Nas from He's over in Israel nowadays. Most of the time, I think he's over there broadcasting from what would be classified as the Middle East area. He's always out just doing these 1 minute, literally 60-second videos with text headers on them and everything. They get more engagement than probably any videos out there. And you'll find that if you create content in that same fashion and just come out and create a structured 1 minute video, like once a day, to inform your audience of what you're doing, or just give them a tip or a trick or something like that every day of the week, you'll get all kinds of huge engagement with that kind of stuff as well. So let's keep going. Let's find some of the ones that we don't expect. Right here, Mike Murphy says from Mike Unplugged, more businesses and brands recognize the power of audio content to build brand awareness and reach target audiences on mobile and smartphone devices or smart home devices. Bingo. Audio. As always, even whether it's video or not, it doesn't matter. If you can't hear what I'm saying, if you don't understand the words I'm delivering, then the message is lost. So in a case like this, where we have video and audio, what's most important? If my video was completely scattered or miscolored or cut off or anything like that, if I was on this screen and it was just me and there was nothing else but me and my mini me like this, just hanging out, then you're going to have to focus on the audio content, because I don't have fancy pictures to show you. I don't have graphics. I don't have movies. It's just me talking. So your audio better be spot on. And that's the big thing we try to impress on people, is that without the audio, your message is lost. So let's head back over here for a minute and scroll down from Mike's, and we'll see. We went with Nick earlier. I want to find some of the folks you see out here every now and then. Now, Jennifer Quinn, she wrote a book on live streaming alongside of the time I wrote mine back in 2017. We shared information back and forth a little bit. She says we will see new integrations with artificial intelligence for viewers to engage with broadcasters. And yeah, we're seeing that. I mean, we've got bots that are being put together. Let's just head over, for instance, on my Facebook Live page. I have a bot set up so that if people come over to my page and I'm not around, that they can converse with an artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence is kind of an oxymoron. Intelligence. It's an intelligence we created that's computer generated, and it uses simple processes of basically if-then statements or yes-no statements to try and determine through a flow of how to achieve an answer to a question. So I have that ability right over here on Facebook. If they go to my instant messenger and start asking it questions, it will answer in real time. So that type of stuff was obviously predicted and nailed it with these chatbots. There's also the idea of Facebook places where you can go out as an avatar and be someone graphical and join into a live education. I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. You could educate people as an avatar. You can have simple phone calls or hang out with family with an avatar. You can bring comments up on the screen. It looks as though you can shuffle through your pictures. You can do videos. You can do what's that word? Any kind of VR stuff. You could actually share that virtual reality with others in an environment like that. So some pretty crazy stuff going on with that. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate the comment for coming by as well. So let's head down the list, keep on going. We've got Brian Kramer, big guy over there in the streaming community. Live streaming videographers and specialists may be uniquely positioned as marketing's next big solution. Makes sense. It kind of comes down to the fact that all video we produce in some form or another, whether it's for ourselves, our business, or even our own families sometimes, is somewhat of a marketing tool. We're sharing information to get people to react, to respond, to make that call to action that we give them. So in reality, anytime a video is made and somebody says, hey, go sign up for my list or go push this button or go buy this product, it's all marketing. And I think he hit it right on the head with that. That's really where this tool is used best, is as a marketing tool. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way it's used, because I've seen it used several other ways, as teaching tools, as environmental pressure, ways of pushing politics, and there's ways to use it in religion. There are ways to use, and when I say that, I mean somebody's always standing on a pulpit somewhere that wants to get a message out. So live streaming is a perfect way to do that. All right, let's keep going. Leslie Nance, I see producers and agencies scrambling for new talent. Of course, if we're going to be making more video, we need more people. We need more people to hold mics. We need more people to push buttons on cameras. We need more people to set up equipment. We need more people to act and be talent. There's a lot of stuff to do out there, folks. So if you've got any talent in that field or business, get out there and see what's out there. There are people that are just starting new live stream companies that need more people. So look for what's out there. Here's Professor Nez, an actual professor at a university who I got the pleasure of meeting out on Blab. Monetizing live streams will become a whole lot simpler on the big daddy of all social networks, Facebook. I would have to agree. I worked very closely with the team over at Vidpresso, who was recently acqui-hired by Facebook to help them increase the engagement of their video platform. John and I just chatted with Randy Bennett the other day about how things are moving along, what we're looking forward to connect databases to Facebook and things like that, or anywhere really when it comes to live video, because that's really where it's going. It's not just this one-man show anymore, where like what I do, a lot of the stuff I do is one-man show, but we're incorporating other players. We're bringing other remote computers into the broadcasts. We're using RTMP ingest feeds where one person sends a feed to another person who sends out their own feed. So there's just all this restreaming going on where we're multicasting to 10 or 12 sites. But in order to monetize content, you have to have a call to action that you can bring to the set, bring to the screen, like a push button. We're seeing a lot of that engagement more recently. They now have a polling feature on Facebook that we used to have on Vidpresso and still have available. If you haven't seen HQ and Confetti's trivia game, and the fact that John Pretto is building one for himself for his site, this type of interactive live video that's going on right now is making huge waves. The money's being passed around. So follow the money. You'll see a lot of stuff going on there. Stephanie Liu, platforms will be expected to provide creators with more robust tools. Again, it's all about the tools. And a lot of people are finding that in order to compete out here in live streaming, you have to have some really cool stuff. So you have to have HD, you have to have good camera work, you have to have some overlays, you have to have some graphics, some video content. The only way you're going to do that is to increase your availability to tools and software sets, whether it's a website or whether it's software you install on your machine. It's going to go one way or the other. All right, let's get down to the big boys now. We got Joel Comm. Facebook rolls out live video on desktop to host guests, lower thirds, titles, screen. This has been in the works for years, folks. This is nothing new. It was a good prediction, but Joel kind of, I felt, just shortchanged himself here. That was an obvious call because we knew it was happening anyway, and yet it hasn't fully transpired because Facebook hasn't given us the producer, let's say, like where we can just go in and do all kinds of really cool things to change up the graphics and such. But we've seen it. So maybe I could pull it up. Let me see if I got it. I might get lucky before, but let's see, because Facebook, there we go. This might actually be it. No, I wanted to bring it out here for you guys because it was a post done by BuzzFeed, I think. They actually got a peek into the Facebook interface before it went live. So before even anyone else got to see it. So I was going to try to catch that link, but I don't have it available. Let's keep going. I'm going to find a couple more. Mitch Jackson, if you didn't know him, the lawyer of Blab, you might say, he had a lot of legal things to talk about when he was out there. Laws, rules, regulations designed to protect consumers will be enforced by state and federal authorities. Watch your live streams, folks. There's a lot to it. When it comes down to reality's sake, don't be holding your if you're broadcasting live, maybe hold the bottle this way and not where the logo's shown. If someone thinks you're using their brand as a sponsorship to your broadcast, you can get in a lot of trouble. If you're using copyrighted content like images or videos that you don't have the right to, you can get in a lot of trouble. If you're using music files that are copyright protected that you don't have the rights to, you can get in a lot of trouble. Do you see the pattern here? You can get royalty-free stuff on YouTube. You can go get all the sound effects and audio files you need. You can go to Wiki Commons and get all the images and videos you need that are in public domain. You can go to Google and find, now don't go to Google search and just go looking for pictures that you can bring into your live streams. Go find royalty-free image sites such as pixabay.com. This is one that I happen to use. Now, I know there's a ton of others. I'm just giving one example, okay? That's just for those who want to find quick graphics by searching something that fits full size, big, nice, heavy-duty, high-def graphics that are free to download and use as you like in commercial use. One thing you have to be careful of with audio tracks is what's called an attrition or an attribution. I'm sorry. Attrition is when you lose people a lot. Attribution is when you give somebody credit for what they've created that you're using. So you'll find on YouTube in their song lists that some have CC or Creative Commons attribution required, which means you have to leave a little blurb that says, I got this from so-and-so, and this is really his work. So just put that into your video somewhere, or a little text that pops up in your video. Logos, same way. But we can get into that, Preston. When you say logos, you're talking about brand logos for other brands. You do have to be careful because they could hold you liable for using their brand to represent, like to bring viewers in and they see a Coca-Cola brand during your broadcast. Coca-Cola could come after you for just showing a pop can because they may construe that you're trying to imply that Coke is backing your broadcast. Just keep that in mind. You need to cover up major label brands and such like that, or brand labels, when you're doing these kind of broadcasts, and never have background music playing on your radio or even a television show. So unless you have prior written approval. All right, let's keep going. A couple more. Chris Freitag, video will become the dominant form of content on social and the #1 way to connect with your readers. We all know that. This is common knowledge. Owen Video. Love this guy. Owen Hemstath, which if you don't know the fact, go out and look for a video on YouTube from Judge Judy back in the day. He got spanked really bad by that girl. He was going through a divorce or a breakup or something, and all, you know, how they have to split the content and somebody gets this and somebody gets that. Owen was literally on that show. Some of the funniest content I've ever seen. Major live stream platforms will introduce pre-roll graphics and other basic editing tools for creative. We keep going back to tools. But one of the things he mentions here is pre-roll graphics. And when they say pre-roll and post-roll and mid-roll, what that means is they're adding usually commercialized content within the video. Your intro that says brought to you by, your ending video that this show has been sponsored by, and maybe in the middle, and thanking for our sponsors who are bringing you this today. You can do that. Yes, it is on Facebook already, but let me tell you about that. There are tools available on Facebook where you can put your pre-roll and your post-roll on. For some reason, mine has not worked. I don't know why, but I've uploaded my intro and outro clips on Facebook. So every time I go live, it's supposed to play that into the recording. Hasn't done it yet. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But there's also the idea, okay, Facebook's bringing their own ads in. So that's why they don't allow you to put ads in your live content. You cannot go out there and say, okay, this has been brought to you by the makers of, and show this, you know, funky office tool or whatever, because Facebook will shut down your video. You will not be able to play that video again if they catch you, of course, but it's pretty common and obvious they will. So don't do it. You just can't. You are not allowed to, because they are selling ad space on your videos through their advertising platform. That's all there is to that. Okay, next. Let's go find a couple that we know around here. I know we got Mike Lucy. I don't know if he made it into the house today or not, but Mike Lucy is a good friend of mine from here in Michigan. He's down in the Westland area, runs 3V Business Solutions, and I've known him since the Blab days, helped him out a lot on getting live streaming up and running, and now he's just taking it gangbusters into chatbots. He's my chatbot go-to guy, so if you ever want to find out how to build a chatbot, go to 3V Solutions. The proliferation, I can't even say that word, proliferation. All right, there we go. Of chatbots and direct message marketing will cross paths with live streaming to create unique niche-driven opportunities. Yeah, that's a lot of mouthful, but it's a lot to say. If you don't know what chatbots are and you don't get the whole idea of how to connect them as a marketing tool, real estate and insurance are crushing it with chatbots right now. So if you're in that industry, go check it out. Talk to Michael. Kathy Nolan, if you remember her from the Never Settle show, she was the caricature artist who was on the show with Mario Armstrong. We worked behind the scenes a little bit on that broadcast just as a collaborative effort to come up with ideas as to how the show would be put together. Mario won an Emmy for that broadcast last year and has since, I haven't heard of a season 3 or 4, I think it would be now, coming out yet, but go check out Mario Armstrong on it's under Al Roker Group. So if you have not seen him broadcasting out of the NASDAQ studios, go check out the Never Settle show on Facebook. You'll probably see me on screen a few times because I made an effort to get not only on the banners for the text comments that were coming up on the screen at the time, but also managed to get on his board behind. They had a big social media board for Twitter posts that we were doing for the broadcast, and my wife and I got on the show that way as well. So fun times. Brian Fanzo, everybody knows this guy one way or another, ex-internet cybersecurity guru turned social media activist. Brands that understand the value of real-time documenting, leveraging social video data, and creating a strategy for right-time content distribution will win. Did anybody get that? Anybody at all? Really? That was a lot to say that really didn't say anything. But yeah, basically make your video and use it is what it says. Mia Voss, a lot of people probably know. Oh, he was on Periscope this morning. Good to hear. Yeah, and Brian probably produces more content than most people out there. This guy's been just ripping social media apart with the way he does things because he's all over the place. I don't think there's one platform you can't find him on. He was all over Meerkat. That was the live streaming platform Bobby came over to Blab from, I believe, as well. So good guy all around and knows a lot about the social industry. Mia Boss, good friend of my friend Nazim Beltran, who you see out here from Italy every now and then. Mia says, because I'm sure every prediction has been covered exhaustively, I predict that the tin can and a string will make a strong comeback. We all agreed the other day that that was probably going to be true before 5G comes out. So if you got your tin can and string ready to go, call me up. We'll talk. All right, let's see if we can find a couple more. We got Babylon Brook. We got Roberto's earlier. I'm going to roll down to a couple more. I want to find some folks that have been. Roy Tamor is a good one. She's usually got a good tip or two. Pod streaming. I love the way she said that. Pod streaming, or multi-purposing live streams into podcast and vice versa, will dominate the marketplace. It will be a very good year for Apple, YouTube, and Facebook. Agreed. I think audio is huge. Not many people know you can go Facebook Live audio by simply hitting the tab when you go live and switch over to an audio feed rather than a video feed. That's one way to create some content. I would need a long distance can to reach Preston. I don't know how we're going to do that. We're going to have to do an underwater line to Honduras in order to connect Preston with a can. Okay, let's keep that. I think she's right. Big thing here that we found is a lot of people doing live stream video are now using tools like repurpose.io and some other tools like LiveLeap, even Restream.io, not only to just get more content in more places, but taking that content from video form, stripping the audio, and then putting it up on podcast sites like iTunes, anything else you can find like Spreaker or Podbean or Pippa, anything that's out there. Get those audio tracks off and start creating podcast sites. Works out really well for you. Rich says you can go live audio with guests in the room for your conversation on Dialogue. There we go. Dialogue.com, another place to hang out and do some audio. Thanks for that, Rich. I do appreciate it. All right, Coach Jenny, good friend of mine from the Blab days. We've worked together on a lot of different projects, one way or another, or at least collaborated on the back end, discussing things that could come next. Early adopters are headed out of the amateur hour and becoming much more professional in our live stream productions. That's right. More practice makes perfect, but there is no such thing as perfect. So don't acquire that. Just get better at your game. The whole idea is to learn as you go. So if you're creating live streams and you're not happy with them, how do you make them better? Well, there's one way to make a live stream better. There's me and my mini. I love it that I got them on different layers. Just keep practicing. Just find that other tool that makes it that much easier for you. And that's what I try to tell people more often than not, is to try everything out there. Don't cut yourself short and say, okay, what tool should I use? And let someone else decide. Why should you let someone else decide your pleasure? Because what's going to make you happy is having a flow that works well with you, something that you're comfortable with. If you don't like the screen that I have, you know, when you go to stream and you don't like to see this behind you, then maybe you want something a little easier, like a website or something that you can go on to and just push a stream button, or use your phone and just go to Facebook. Find what works for you. Don't expect someone else to tell you what's going to be your best bet. It's just the way it is. It's in my book anyway. I don't see how it could work any other way. All right, let's go down from up. Who's that dude? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was in there too. I said back in 2018, what I said was a new virtually unknown high-end live streaming service provider will settle into the space, just like Facebook creator and producer begins to push out the little guy. So I was kind of a step ahead thinking, all right, this Facebook Live interface that's going to have all these features that we'd already seen 2 years ago was going to be going out live by the end of the year, but it didn't happen yet. Now, the year's not over, so I'm hoping I got 2-3 more weeks, maybe as a Christmas present to some of you folks out there, Facebook will open the doors to their live streaming platform. I just received notice from Vidpresso and an email from Dan Cisco the other day that they are swapping their platform over to another format, which means if what I'm using on the back end is changing, then it's likely Vidpresso is also making some headway on Facebook and helping their video team come up with some new ideas. So we'll see what happens probably by February Q1. See what happens in 19. That's really all I can do. As far as the new virtually unknown high-end live streaming service, I was kind of looking for something like Twitch to push up out, get Facebook, and it's starting to happen. It's actually a lot of people that didn't realize Twitch isn't just good for gaming, but have realized that you can do any broadcast you want on Twitch and get a lot of traction since it is owned by Amazon. Amazon is starting to look for episodic content. That means serial content, like Serial 1, Episode 1 type stuff. And they're putting that on Amazon Prime and also Amazon Echo has the ability to do podcast playback. So if you just say, hey, Alexa, you want to tell me who's feeding what today to my ears? There's a lot of things like that you can do as well. So I didn't quite nail it, but I tried. John Preto, y'all know him. He also got into this list of people that made predictions. And this was one of the few that actually mentioned mobile. John said mobile is the focus since everyone carries a TV station in their pockets, which is absolutely correct. We all know that already. And I think there is an extreme focus on mobile because of the amount of content that's being developed for mobile and how much is being devoured by the people with cell phones. Literally, there are so many people that are out there doing all the things we do on desktop on their cell phone. So we can see that continue to grow. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for a cell phone. Sorry, not happening anytime in this lifetime. All right, a couple more. Kim Doyle's obviously a big player. We'll just see what she had to say. More people repurposing quality content, live streams for content and inclusion of messenger bots, live streams. So we've covered that. No big deal. Chocolate Johnny, if you guys remember Chocolate Johnny from Blab, was always selling his chocolate out there. It's not about the big numbers of followers. It's about the small, intimate groups like this, just like us, that will help each other and build their brand of loyalty. He's got it nailed. Couple more. I'm going to get down the list here. We saw Krishna Days. There's Jed Record, if you don't know Jed from Twitter. Great Twitter guy. Does his drone flying around his subdivision there. He gets it, about a quarter of a mile in the air and flies all around his sub, getting sunrises and sunsets in the mornings and evenings. Does some of the best work out there. 2018 will bring AR enhanced live streams and camera effects which react to your emotional state as you broadcast. Now that's kind of interesting. This list is in the chat. I'll share it again, Preston, in case you didn't get it, or if somebody else has the feed. It came from Livestream Universe's website predictions. This is the 2019 predictions for this year, which is 105. I just put a list or a link in the chat. That will also take you to, if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll find the list from 2018 and from 2017 and from 2016. So if you want to reminisce and see if there's some places people made predictions that did come true a while ago, that'll definitely be one way to go. Hello, Barbara Tomlin. I see somebody just mentioned your name, so I'm saying hello as well. All right, we're going to pass through a couple of these. Marty McPadden, we got Monique Johnson, another good friend. Live streaming will be the medium to counter any future algorithmic change. Algorithmic. Gosh, one of those words everybody hates to choke on. That will occur on social media platforms. And there were a lot of algorithmic changes on Facebook and on YouTube, especially when we dealt with the whole Cambridge Analytics thing, a lot of the hacking that goes on YouTube. The chat feeds are always full of trolls, it seems. So there's always ways that people are changing up the algorithm to put content in front of you properly. And that's what these advertising companies are for. If we ever forget for a minute that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch aren't advertising companies, then we're missing the mark, because that's what it's all about. They're giving us these tools so that they can put their ads on our content. That's what it's all about. That's how they make their money, and that's how they pay us if they decide they want to give us a way to monetize that content. So it's not as though they're like Facebook. They did one thing back when live streaming started on Facebook Live. They paid a bunch of high-end brand names to come out and live stream on Facebook, millions of dollars. They were giving away accounts to people so that they could actually stream high quality content. But what Facebook discovered after the money ran out, those brand names stopped broadcasting live content to Facebook because they weren't getting the ROI they expected on their own money. But it worked okay when they were getting money from Facebook to do it at a cost. So a little different news. All right. Other than that, Monique says live stream will be the medium to counter any future asymmetric changes. We went all through that. You get it. So not much to be. Todd Burgeon. Guess who that is? Is he still sitting here in the live seat today? No, Todd Live was here just a minute ago, or he was in the room, out in the welcome room here at Get Vocal. Todd Burgeon is known as Todd Live. You'll see him out there quite a bit. Growing audience of engaged, interested people who are emotionally attached to you and your brand with short-form social media content. Think Instagram stories, chat, Snapchat. And we talked a bit about the diminishing content a few minutes ago. I'm not a fan, but a lot of people are. Todd feels that that was the way to go. And if that's how you apply your strategy, if that's how you intend on delivering your live content, then you will be successful if you maintain that strategy. You can also use that strategy as more or less a teaser tool for your larger content or your more developed content, where you can come out, do short blurb videos, even cuts from your larger pre-produced content, and pull out like trailer stuff and put the trailers out there as social media content, and you can definitely start some engagement. All right, so we've got another good friend, Vicki Fitch. She's on a 12 books in 12 months plan right now, trying to write her toes off, I think. But she says YouTube will emerge as a live streaming leader by creating a more enticing and easily searchable space to draw traffic away from Facebook. Now, we did see YouTube communities develop up quite a bit. We saw YouTube Super Chat come out, where people are getting paid large amounts of money just by people tossing it at them in the chat. Now, you have to have certain amounts of subscribers. And we also saw YouTube pull away monetization from a lot of us users who had less than 1,000 subscribers or less than 4,000 hours of view time. So that became an issue with a lot of the people who were just starting on YouTube at the time, who were already making money and thought that this was going to be cool. Then all of a sudden, all the money went away and they have to build their audience larger before they can get it back. I'm one of those people. And there's several of us who are out there just kind of scrambling to get more subscribers. So if you're here and you want to subscribe, Best at YouTube or Leland Best, you can go find me out there. Go subscribe to my channel, please. One way or another, we're going to build this thing up. Couple more. Let's see. We've had Wagner DeSantos. New networks will accept content from less established broadcasters, allowing them to host shows while assisting in their development. He makes a good point. I think what we're going to see is a fine gray line start to diminish between amateur developers of video content and professional network content creators, because they're able to tap a huge source of talent. There's a lot of people out here who maybe belong in the television industry or on the networks that have never had access before, but by people coming out here and watching other rookie developers coming out here creating video content, you may at any time have somebody headhunt you or pick you out of a crowd and say, I want that person on my show, or I want that person working behind on my production team. You never know when that's going to happen. I've had it happen to me on a couple of occasions where people wanted me to work on certain things that I was not expecting, but it was just out of the blue because they saw me broadcasting somewhere else. So always keep that in mind. There's always eyes watching. You might not know where they're coming from. A couple more and we'll wrap this thing up. What are we at time-wise? We're at 12:43, so I got about 15 minutes left. I'm just going to cover a couple more, and then I'm going to ask some folks to jump in the seats and tell me what types of predictions they saw come up in 2018 that either did come true or are so far off that they didn't even have a chance. Here's one, Nazim Beltran. You see him out here quite a bit on Get Vocal. Let's see. No, it's not on a... Oh, does he serve it? No, it's not on a secure server, Bros. Or Barb, I noticed that myself. No, this one is. Wait a minute. This was an HTTPS. This one is. Mobile live streaming will increase in value and quality with the implementation of 5G. There's the first one we've seen with 5G, and I've been just scrolling through the generalized ones. Permitting content creators to free themselves of the in-studio syndrome and think outside the box. And that was a really good prediction. Because like I mentioned earlier, with the backpacks and the shoulder mounts and the headgear and the glassware and all that stuff that's available for live streaming now, we have moved the broadcasting arena not only from the studio out to, a home or business, but now it's the studio is on the street. So I think he made a great prediction. The 5G is not here yet, but it will be soon. Again, that whole time frame tweaks out with a roadmap to about 2020. So yes, live AR would be cool. And that would be similar to what we're talking about with Facebook Places. So you can go check that out. If you have an AR device, go see, or a VR device, go see what's going on over there. All right, we got Hillary, Aaron Roth, Instagram from over there at Archon Mounts. Instagram becomes Facebook's most valuable asset as more businesses take to Instagram than Facebook to do their live stream marketing. I think he nailed it. When IGTV came out, or Instagram TV, the people went nuts and just started doing all kinds of streaming over there. I myself haven't, because I don't have a following on Instagram that I utilize or engage with. So I have not turned that route yet to stream anything to Instagram. Not to say I won't, but it's just wasn't something on my radar. So free worldwide internet is what we need, says Mr. Wonderful. I totally agree. We had a county commissioner tried to do that in Oakland County, Michigan here, was going to provide free internet access for the entire county via Wi-Fi or satellite or balloon, whatever he could do. Excuse me for the bubble. But that never took shape. Zeph Zan, another close friend. I did a huge live event with Zeph back last December, actually. First week in December, we did the Momentum Live Tribe broadcast, which we had, I think it was total 12 speakers. We went through crowdcast.io, which allowed us to move people from one broadcast room to another broadcast room to another broadcast room, just continue and flow. So if you wanted to see a particular speaker, you had a choice between the right and the left. What was going, when I say right and left, I don't mean politics, just the right side, left side type choice as to what room you wanted to go into, and worked out flawlessly. We had a great time. Zeph and her team put together some of the most dynamic and complete set of documents on the back end of that broadcast prior to our actual show launch. And we did all kinds of pre-videos for that as well, commercial style videos, and had a great time doing it. So her comments were questions users must continue to answer. 1, which tool will best serve my live video strategy and marketing goals? And 2, why am I even going live? That's huge, because we already talked about number 1, which was the tools. You have to have the tools that work best for you, your workflow, your mode of operandi, let's say, modus operandi. You have to have something that works. That number 2, do you really need to go live? Is that something that's going to fit your marketing strategy? Is it something that's going to connect properly with your audience? Not everybody has to do it, but we find 9 times out of 10, everybody should be doing it one way or another. We just can't deny that live video is the easiest way to connect directly to your audience, your customer, or your client. Okay, a couple more. Chef Dennis. If you've never watched Chef Dennis's worldwide treatment of live video and his cooking shows, you do need to go check him out. The equipment and tools we need will continue to evolve again, over and over again. Equipment and tools evolving. That's how it goes. Yes, Preston, this guy is awesome. He loves to broadcast. He loves to cook, and putting the two together have been like a dream team. And he's just crushing it with that stuff. All right. Chris Strub did the 50 United States days in 50 or 100 days or something. He managed to go through, Barb would know, I forget what it was called, but he went around all the states in the US and did some live streaming out of each and every one of those states. Platforms will invest in owning great content. It is about owning the content. Just recently, we've seen the platforms start to give us the VOD. Here at Get Vocal, we have video recordings like we did at Blab. Over at Stage 10 TV, they have video recordings that are archived that you can get back in 720p. There's a lot of sites, and YouTube always being one that you can get your data back. We've always complained about Facebook not giving us back the content format that we deliver them. And it's upsetting, honestly, when you deliver high def content to an organization that's utilizing it and placing ads on it. And when you want to download that content back for yourself, you can't get back what you gave them. It's a little irate in my book, but something we have to deal with until they decide to change it. It was 720p when they started. I think they realized the amount of data space they would need to store all that content was going to be enormous. So they had to cut down the volume of the file size simply by stripping down the resolution of the quality. All right. 100 Days of Blab. Yeah, I remember that. We used to do all that. All right. Brad Freeman, we already went through. Terry, we went through. Stephen Haywood, you see him out here, the tech buzz guy from over there. You see him on Roku as well. He broadcasts out to Roku. Live video will be kept quality and special occasions rather than consistent weekly shows. I don't believe that, and I think he blew it. I just gotta say, excuse me, I had a bubble. That these, and when I say that, Stephen, I'm not, if you're here watching or you see the recording, this is not to diminish your prediction, but what I notice here is that it will be quality, but it's not just special occasion. I think the weekly content, the consistency of weekly content is actually taking leaps and bounds forward, and more people are jumping on the weekly content bandwagon, even versus the daily. John and I used to do a daily show on Blab, which was Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. for an hour plus after shows. And it just got to be a lot of energy and a lot of effort. So we just kind of backed out of that whole principle, and he went and did his thing. I went and did mine. But weekly shows are much easier to maintain and manage, and you can prep for them ahead of time if you're one that likes to do prep and scripts. Lottie Hearn Ross, another one of my favorite streamers from over in the UK, actually from Ireland. She says workplace wellness, body, mind, and soul will explode. Oh, no, she's in Ireland. She's from the UK, I believe. Workplace wellness, body, mind, and soul will explode, and we must stand out. Standing streams will energize. Standing streaming. That's cool. You ever see those standing desks where you can like stand up and do your thing? That's what I think she's talking about here. And that's true. Zeph Sand does all her streams standing. I know Lottie, I think, does a good portion of her standing. I never stand streaming, but I think a lot of people are realizing that it's more comfortable. You can speak easier when you're not seated. It's like if you're standing at a podium, your vocals work much easier for you. You don't choke on air bubbles like I have twice already today. But anyway, keep going. Who else we got? Candy Blog. 2018 will see e-commerce playing a key role in live streaming. It'll be home shopping television 2.0. And I think she's right. That's really what it's coming down to. We've always been looking for monetization in our live streams. Some services provide, some don't. Sometimes we have to do it ourselves with our own tools, but one way or another, we find a way to pull a profit if we can off of our live streams. It's not like people are making a ton of money off these things. Hey, there's one, JS Gilbert, right from here on Get Vocal. You see him quite a bit. His lengthy response last year, he says, remains consistent, meaning we are on an interesting path in live broadcasting that should intersect technology, design, AR, VR, and 5G fast transmissions around 2022. So he didn't make a 2018 prediction. He actually made a 2022 prediction, but I'll give him credit because he stands firm in the fact that we're not seeing the plateau yet. We're still on an upward climb to where we have not matched the content and the creators with the types of hardware and software availabilities that can create the amount and type of content that they could. But until that band of folks gets the training and technology expertise they need, then that stuff will continue to evolve. And I think until that time that we have these incredible speeds with 5G, that we have access to unlimited speeds, both back and forth for everyone that wants to be on video or participate and engage in the video, then we're going to see some really cool things happen. Right now, it's still growing. It's still a learning process. There's still people just grasping the concept and the techniques. But as those people continue to practice and move ahead, we're going to see a lot more cool stuff in the future. All right. Until then, he says, I think we'll see some really killer apps, live video maturation, where live video working as much as a direct income stream, but impact on all screens, boxes, and things that go bump in the night, which basically means that multi-streams aren't just going to go to Facebook. They're going to go to all kinds of platforms, including things like Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick. You're going to be broadcasting on people's TVs from your house. You're not just going to be broadcasting to Facebook Live. You're going to be up there on a 60-inch screen. So you better consider formatting your material for that size display. Other than that, Erin Sell, if you guys remember her from Blab, we will see the emergence of a new standalone platform reminiscent of Blab. What do you know? We have it here. Get Vocal. All right. So she nailed it on the head as far as that goes. And that's the experience. It's like, or the addition of a Blab-esque experience. And when they say that, the whole days of Blab, the Blab I am, the Blab-esque, the Blabisms, whatever you want to call them, it all stemmed from a simple concept, and that was sit 4 people in a room, let them talk, and see what happens. So that's where we're at out here, and that's what we continue to see day in and day out in the live streams, and we're just having a ball learning as we go and coming up with new ways to create content. Nazim, my man, how are you doing over there in Milan, Italy today? Where are you in Milan?
Doing great. Yes, I am doing great, buddy. I noticed you're running out of time here, so I said, let me join in on the live here.
And I appreciate it. I was hoping somebody would step in soon. We do have 5 minutes, so if you want to come into the conversation, join in real quick before we're done. What do you got to say, Nazim?
All good. I like the fact that we're all looking at the platforms and the evolutions. I would like to add a little bit of my 2 cents on it. I do not see corporate America jumping into this stuff yet at a big scale.
I think you're right. And the reason for that, go ahead. I want you to finish. Go ahead.
No, and it's quite a concern because, you look at Facebook Lives on the map and you see that there's basically, once in a blue moon, CNN shows up and does their thing on a very sporadic basis and very experimental. But most of the stuff that we see on the Facebook Live map, and I'm concentrating on Facebook Live at the moment, forget about all the other options that we have, is there's a lot of churches. I think the religious, the whole series of churches have really jumped on the bandwagon because for them, it's basically our messages. If it's not on TV, on cable TV, whatever, we can also propagate it through these free instruments. And that's, that's one of the things that quite impresses me in the sense when you look at all the stuff. There's also TV stations. They redirect their stuff on Facebook Live. And they try to stay away from the controversy of because there is a TV station that goes on and then everybody starts commenting on the anchor or saying this and that. And they're kind of they kind of freak out, but they're playing around with it. So I think that's an additional move forward that is quite good. But the companies, the big companies, and you don't see Amazon, which could go online and say, hey, folks, we're doing a live stream this weekend. We would like to show you how to use the blender, whatever, doing it.
That's a good idea.
Their own internal QVC. And it's like so simple. It's just thinking a little bit outside of the box. And I don't understand why they're not doing it.
Well, I think what you're going to discover, and I know the NFL made a good point about this recently when they talked about just months back, how the scaling capabilities of internet live video have not reached that particular point that they need to be at, especially for the large corporation entities that are producing, following, and engaging that is in the millions of viewers. So you can't really bring that onto a chat. And that chat would be rolling at 1,000,000 miles an hour in the first place. So first off, you have to be able to filter out the comments.
That's a good point.
There's so much because it's basically critical mass. By the time you reach that point, you're at critical mass.
There's, as you mentioned before, when I was listening, there's management, and there's also the issue of all that data is going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree. Rich, what do you got for us before I wrap up with a close here on the show today, and then I'll leave the seats open. We can talk after the broadcast.
Okay, just wanted to say great show, a lot of good content. And one thing you mentioned about dialogue, and when I put a comment in about the audio, it's dialogue.am, and I think they're doing the AM to give the radio thing there, which I think is going to be a competition for live stream, because I got dialogue up here right now, and dialogue, you have Ben Stiller and Jack Tapper from CNN just did an interview on Ben Stiller's new program that depicts the big escape in upstate New York, further upstate New York to where I'm at, up there in Plattsburgh, the prison break. Ben Stiller doing something. I think it's on. I'm not sure if it's Amazon or one of those cable entities here, but I guess the point I'm getting at, he broadcast this morning and he had like close to 1,854 listeners.
Wow.
Just from this, and that's the 4th episode. They've been averaging over 1,500. So audio, if you have the audience there, and there's nothing saying that live stream can do that also, and YouTube has shown that. Yeah. So I'm just an observer, and enthusiasts, and wanted to point it out. But I love the show. You got a captive audience here with me and Jackie Jack the cat here, and it's.
Well, I appreciate that.
I had to throw the.
I
had to give him a plug.
I just want to close out this weekend. Me and my wife went to Turin, and when we got back, I watched the Miami Dolphins pull a miracle and beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. Yes!
He got his shot in. All right, gents, I'm going to boot you from the room so I can close this broadcast out. So go ahead and pop if you're ready. We can come back in just a second. All right, folks. I don't know if Nazim can get out of there. There he goes. This has been Leland Best once again coming to you from Wake Up West Coast. It's lunchtime out here at getvocal.com, broadcasting to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So if you ever want to come in, join the conversation, come by on Mondays at 12 noon Eastern, where we sit down, network, hang out, and talk about whatever's on our minds so that we can get it off our chest. This is, once again, one of those things that we just like to do to bring people into the live streams. We'll see you in the next broadcast, everybody. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next show.